The Aggies, the Jazz, the high schools. If it's the sport you care about, we're talking about it. The Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Hello, is it Tuesday, right?
Tuesday.
I wasn't sure, dude. I mean, this week, like during college football basketball season, like my weeks are just blurred. It's all just one big blur to me.
Your life is a blur.
Easy. Yes, that's true. No need to throw shots at me, though. Hey, everybody. Good afternoon. I'm Ajay Salvesen. John Russell's on the other side. Eric Franson is gone, not dead, alive but not forgotten. He'll be joining me back tomorrow, but today I get the better of the scraps. I get John Russell in with me here on 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, The Fan, 402, or actually 401 is your kickoff time. You've heard some comments on Antonio Brown. We're going to get into that a little bit more. USU men's basketball has released their non-conference, or I guess their schedule almost as a whole. -2 games are yet to be determined at home in December. They'll figure that out, and we'll announce those games when they do as well. We want to get some NFL news. We've got college football we want to talk about. Utah State's on their bye week. They get ready for the Aztecs of San Diego State next week. We'll get into some of that. We've got Coach Finkbeiner, the USU women's head basketball coach, is going to join us, and he'll talk about the upcoming season. We're going to ask him some questions about the season, the team, but the subtraction of the team as well. As some of the better players continue to leave the university, and fans want to know why, and that's what we're going to ask them. We've got so much to get into in such a little amount of time to do so, and don't forget, USA, France, Gobert, Mitchell, tomorrow morning, 6:30 a.m. You can find it on ESPN Plus if you feel like spending money to watch them duke it out. Winner will advance to the semifinals versus most likely Serbia. John? Welcome back, man. Good to have you.
Always a pleasure.
You know,
good to be here.
It's always a bonus. In fact, it's more than a bonus when you can get rid of Eric and get you in studio. I always feel like that's a win-win for me.
Why are you throwing shots at Eric? He's,
Why am I throwing shots at? Do you not listen to our show?
By the way, do you still owe me?
I don't owe you.
I'm not paying pick you. 6.
No, I don't.
I'm in here 1 week.
I'm not paying you because a half a tackle was made. No, I ain't doing it.
Win is a win, so
I don't care. I ain't doing it.
Where do we start? There are so many. Is this not the best time of year if you're a sports fan?
I would absolutely agree with you on that. 100%. Agree with you on that. You got college football, NFL football. September's gearing up for October, and there's still some by the way, under the radar, wild races going on for that wild card, and some really good baseball by some of the best teams. I'm talking to you, Astros. I'm talking to you, Yankees. I'm talking to you, Dodgers.
Yeah.
I mean, there is some great baseball that's being played on both sides. I don't know. I mean, John, look,
I think
you're coming back.
I think October is the best.
Is it?
Because we don't have basketball. We got the FIBA World Cup tournament, which, you have
NBA preseason that starts October 2nd.
That's what I'm saying. October is when it really, because then you've got pro and college football, you have baseball, you have NBA, hockey, soccer. It's all happening. But this is such a good time of year, and no, I don't. To answer your question, I don't listen to you, Ajay. It's just, As a matter of fact, I thought I was going to be on air with AJ Knight, and didn't realize it was you.
Wrong hour of the morning, man.
No, wrong
hour
guy.
of the morning.
So I guess, but I'm here, so I'm going to suck it up and be a professional and do my best here to work.
Be a professional and just do it. Good night.
Hey, let's talk some football.
Do you want to start NFL or college? Isn't that a fun question to ask?
It's such a great question to ask. So,
because we haven't got a chance to really pick your brain. You do a great job with USU men's basketball pre and post. 610 KVNU on the city. You are incredible to listen to listen to break down a game like nobody else can after a game is so fun to listen to you for. Where do you want to start?
Well, let's start with a little college football and the first true schedule. They have the whole week 0. I don't get that. That's kind of, whatever. But last week, Saturday, Sunday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday, No, Friday, Saturday. Stop me. You're just letting me flounder here. What are your takes after that first week of college football? What stood out to you? Aggies, man, we saw what we expected to see.
Yeah, Aggies 1-1, a heartbreaking loss to Wake Forest. I want to ask you really quickly about that. I know that's 2 weeks ago. We should move forth, and get ready for conference. But really quickly, I got to ask you this because we haven't had a chance to get your thoughts. This team, it's almost like rewind and push play again when it comes to these big P5 games. Yeah. I mean, and I'm not bagging on the team. I'm just saying the way the ball bounces just never goes the Aggies' way. It never does. We should have beat Wisconsin, Auburn.
Oklahoma.
I put USC on that list too.
Yeah.
And you add Michigan State to that list. You can put now Wake Forest on there too. And I think Wake Forest is one of the more heartbreaking ones, just based on, you take away one of the interceptions that Love threw, turn that into a field goal or a touchdown, and you win that ball game.
Yeah, it's tough, but the thing that I'm wondering is that, in a way, and as painful as it was, in a way, was that loss not a good loss to get out of the way and to be able to say, okay, all those expectations of an undefeated season, all those expectations of 11-2 or something like that, put them out, because if you watched LSU, by the way, that is one scary looking team.
I knew they'd be good, but what they're doing to teams is just flat out dominating them. And by the way, they have a bye week before they play Utah State. Meanwhile, Utah State gets San Diego State on the road, and then Colorado State, who has an absolute vengeance to embarrass the Aggies. They want to, after last year's crazy Aggie win in Boulder.
Yeah, is Colorado State in your mind now maybe one of the top rivalries? I don't want to say rivalries, but the team you look on the schedule that kind of scares you. I mean,
no,
Boise is the team we want to beat.
Sure.
I don't know. I disagree with you, because I think Colorado State is a team that no matter how good they are, how bad they are, we seem to struggle with them.
No, I'm with you. I think Wyoming still scares the heck out of me.
Yeah.
Because no matter who's at Wyoming, no matter who's playing there, they always seem, and you can put Colorado State on this regard too, but they always seem to give the Aggies fits, no matter what. And no matter who's on their roster, they always figure out a way to make life hard for the Aggies on the football field.
Saw it last year.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a team
that was a
rolled
physical
game. They came and made it ugly, which
Odd
is
bounces,
what they wanted to do.
Weird bounces. But yeah, I'm with you. Colorado State is one of those teams that can do that.
And but man, it's so easy to get sidetracked right now. There's so many things going on. But getting back to this game, I'm in a way almost glad. Well, I don't want to say glad, but kind of, they lost to Wake Forest. Would have loved to have beaten them. Would have loved to have been able to say, hey, we got that P5 win. We did what we wanted to, gather a little momentum. But in a way, it's like, okay, we can put that behind us now, and now let's focus on what's most important, which is getting out there and winning the Mountain West Championship. And that starts in 2 weeks. Aggies have a bye this week, but in a week from Saturday, or is it Friday? Saturday. San Diego State, who beat UCLA, who's a bad football team, by the way.
Yeah.
They are not a good team. If you watched their game against Cincinnati last week, any thoughts that maybe San Diego State came in and blew up UCLA? No, that's a bad football team.
But then San Diego State, I mean, their season opener, Weber State, 6-0.
Yeah.
6-0 against Weber State?
Yeah.
I mean, I know Jay Hill's a great coach. Don't get me wrong. But you're San Diego State, and you're a team that's supposed to be second in your division in the Mountain West, and you barely scrape by Weber State. You do beat UCLA, but like you said, Chip Kelly and what they got going on is they are running backwards, and they can't stop the car. Mm-hmm. It's in huge trouble. So yeah, you're right. I think, but I still think playing at San Diego State still scares me.
It's going to be tough. But in a way, I'm glad we've got the bye week this week. Like you said, LSU's got the bye week before we go there to play them. That's going to be rough. But I like this bye week because it gives Coach A chance to sit down and say, okay, guys, 2 games out of the way. We've seen the good, we've seen the bad, we've seen the ugly. Let's take what we can from those games, digest it, work it out, and then turn around and get rid of all the bad stuff, and let's start out our Mountain West Conference schedule with a big W on the road against a team that's always given us fits. I'm all right with it. I'm all right with it. And the other thing is, I always like to, if you're a coach and a kid has a tough game, that's a teaching experience. It's not, so Jordan Love should be sitting there saying, yeah, I threw 3 picks. What am I going to learn out of it? Am I sulking in the corner and going, oh man, that really sucked, I kind of blew it? Or am I saying, you know what, I should have known better, and next time I will, and I won't make that mistake. No, I'm okay with where the Aggies are at right now. Am I totally satisfied that we're all set? No, I want to see that win against the Aztecs, because that's a tough team to play regardless. You talk about only a 6-0 win. Yeah, they shut down a Weber offense that's always been pretty prolific.
By the way, we need to mention, in regards of Mountain West Conference football, they have announced their Players of the Week. It's Hawaii senior wide receiver JoJo Ward and defensive San Diego State linebacker Kayaiva Tenzino. Yeah, let's go with that. JoJo was in a 31-28 win over Oregon State, set career highs in receptions, 10, receiving yards, 189, and touchdowns, 4. That would do it for you.
Yep.
The 4 receiving touchdowns, it ties a single game record for the Mountain West. Recorded touchdown catches of 29, 35, 5, and 29. The 29-yard touchdown, by the way, is what tied the game at 28. He averaged 18.9 yards per catch. He had 3 touchdowns in the first half alone.
But yet, David Woodward doesn't get Player of the Week.
Yeah, I don't know. Don't do that. I will swear. I know there's FCC rules, and I will break them right now. I swear to life, I will.
You got the dump button, so it'll be on you. So
Tenzino of San Diego State for the linebacker led San Diego State defense that held UCLA to just 14 points. That's not really that hard. In a 9-point victory on Saturday afternoon, he recorded 9 tackles, had 7 solo, 1.5 sacks for a loss, 1 sack, and 1 forced fumble. But the forced fumble, the first of his career. And the Aztecs limited UCLA to just 261 yards of total offense. So let me ask you, reading that, is San Diego State defense that good, or is UCLA's offense that bad?
No, I think the defense is that good. Just going back to what they did to Weber, to shut him out, not just shut him down, shut him out. That is a good defense, and it's going to be a great test. It's going to be a great opportunity to see what the Aggie offense is all about. We're going to need to see people stepping up. We're going to need to see people having big-time, legit games. And if they can get that, they can win. This is not a team that, if they win at San Diego State, it's going to be like, oh, it was a good win. They got lucky. No. This is an offense that can do the trick.
Yeah.
The Aggie offense. The defense, we know what the defense is all about.
San Diego State's about as opposite as you can get when you look at, if they were to look at themselves in a mirror. They are dead last in scoring offense, dead last in rushing offense. They're second in scoring defense, and they are first in rushing defense. In regards to pass offense, they're 9th in the Mountain West Conference, but on total offense, they're 9th as well. Total defense, they're second. Pass defense, they're second. Like, this team is, defensively, like you said, I think that proves your point too, that this team defensively is up to the challenge, but offensively they got a lot of crap to figure out when they lost their running back from last year.
Well, what surprises me is you said they were last in rushing offense.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, sorry. Yeah.
We're talking about a team that's Marshall Falk, LaDainian Tomlinson.
Oh my God.
That's been their bread and butter forever. Who was it? They just had another guy that went nuts.
Yeah, who was the guy?
Penny? Was it Penny? Anyway,
Penny? I don't know.
they that's what they have lived off of. So I wouldn't be looking into that. Maybe they just ran up against some teams that played tough run defense. But good game. And again, Aggies have the week off, so you and Eric will have plenty of time to dive into that next week. No, I'm happy with where they're at.
Let me ask you, John, this Mountain West Conference has been actually pretty impressive so far in the first 2 weeks of the season. Of all the conferences that have the most P5 wins against P5 teams, you want to guess what conference that is?
Mountain West.
6.
Yeah.
6 wins from the Mountain West Conference versus P5 teams, is the most so far out of any conference, Power 5 or non.
It should have been 7
in the country. Should have been set. Yeah, oh God, don't mention that, man. So with that regard, when you look at this Mountain West, what teams stand out to you so far?
Ooh, that's a good question, and it's hard to tell at this point because you've had some good wins. Wyoming, Wyoming always scares me, and anytime you have to go to Laramie, especially, that really worries me. I think that basically, other than the bottom level teams, so I'm the big Arizona guy. I came from Tucson. Hawaii's win, although good over a Pac-12 team. Arizona's bad. So, you have to look at, some of those wins and who they got them. But as far as what the rest of the Mountain West can do, you've got good teams that I think everybody's going to be a little better other than maybe San Jose. San Jose's just, they've got problems. I don't know if they're ever going to get any good. But I think that a lot of excitement coming into this year, but you look at Nevada, you look at
Nevada's tough.
They're going to be tough. Fresno's going to be tough. Boise is Boise. They're the favorite until somebody knocks them down.
By the way, and Eric and I talked about this yesterday, but man, Boise's weird. They score 36 versus Florida State in Tallahassee, and then at home can only muster 14 points with that final 7 coming in the second quarter versus Marshall at home.
Yeah, but look what Florida State did.
Yeah.
I mean, they turn around, they lost as well. So, yeah, it's tough. But, as much as we talk about that, I mean, look what Nevada did. Is Oregon that good? 77-6. They just absolutely crush Nevada. Are they that good?
Yeah.
Fresno, it would have been nice to see them beat Minnesota. They didn't get the win.
Oh, they should have too. Gosh dang it.
Yeah. And then, I forgot about UNLV, but I think most everybody forgets about UNLV. Rightfully
San Jose
so.
State's still in the conference? I didn't know.
Yeah. We need to move on.
When I agree with you, this Mountain West Conference is about as loaded as you could ask for, and the unfortunate part, if you're Utah State, well, at least fans for Utah State, is that loaded part of the schedule or that loaded part of the conference is who you play against. San Diego State on the road, Colorado State at home, Wyoming at home, Boise State at home. You have Air Force on the road, Nevada at home, Fresno on the road. I think we talked about it in our pre-show prep. I love what you said. Like, the easiest part of their schedule has just come and gone,
and it was 1 week only.
Yeah, it was a 1 week, 1 week little vacation. And I mean, if you want to count the bye week, sure, it's 2 weeks. And now you've got San Diego State on the road, Colorado State at home, LSU on the road, a bye week before you get Nevada at home, Air Force at Air Force. That's October 26th. That means you go into November and face BYU, Wyoming, Fresno State on the road, and then at Boise State at home. That's the rest of your schedule before you go face New Mexico at New Mexico, which should be a cakewalk if you're still alive by then.
Yeah. Well, that's the unfortunate thing is the Aggies, this a lot of hope and expectation coming into this year, but this is going to be the toughest Mountain West schedule that they've run into. And we wanted it. I mean, let's face it.
Yeah, we begged, absolutely.
This is something that we're grateful to have. We're glad that we have this. But the reality is that there are no off weeks. There might be bye weeks, but you don't have a UNLV, you don't have a San Jose where you're going to be able to say, okay, that's one that we come in. If we execute like we can, we should be good to go. We'll even get some of the backup some time. This is a tough season, and you just look at the games that occurred. I mean, you talked about who impressed me in the Mountain West. You have your haves and you have your have-nots. UNLV, San Jose, New Mexico. Yeah, you're not going to get much out of any of those. But any of the other teams that are there, they've shown that they can come in and beat you. Wyoming's done it. Nevada, yeah, they got crushed by Oregon, but who'd they beat the week before? Kind of forgot that.
Who's that?
Nevada.
They beat Purdue.
These are big wins, so they're showing that they can play. Aggies got their hands full.
All right, Let's go to a break. We still got a ton to get through in this first hour alone. Again, Coach Finkbeiner will join us, USU women's head basketball coach. A lot to ask him as they get ready for the season up ahead. Speaking of USU basketball, men's have released their schedule. They still have 2 games slate for their home portion in December. But we'll get you into the schedule. We'll break down the schedule with none other than John Russell, who does your pre and post on 610 KVNU after every game and before every game. He does a great job with it. Coming up next, though, on the Full Court Press.
I don't know what did or didn't happen there.
Well, it's pretty.
Hi, Bill. I just wanted to ask you.
Didn't happen there.
Well, it's pretty well documented in both places that he was pretty disruptive. What makes you confident that he won't be that way here?
That's the same thing you said about Randy Moss when we brought him in. So
The Aggies, Jazz, high schools, even the Pee Wee's T-ball team. It's the Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, The Fan.
John Russell, Ajay, Salvesen, 425, your time here in the second segment of the Full Court Press, first hour. Grateful to have you wherever and however you are joining us on 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, The Fan. Don't forget, if you are sitting next to your computer, you can stream us on 1069thefan.com. If you missed the entirety of the show, or if you want to hear the bits and parts of the show, you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, all podcast platforms. You can type in John's name. You can't hear me?
I can't hear you.
It's not my fault. Just your little what's it called? Attachment.
All right, keep going. If
There
you're
you
good,
go.
we're good.
That's not my fault.
There you go. I can hear you now.
Yeah, of course you can. It's selective hearing. John Russell. That's always the best.
John Russell and AJ Knight. Oh wait, no.
You.
Sorry.
I'll kick you out.
I'm gonna have to talk
I'll
to
do
Eric.
this on my own.
I think Eric did that on purpose because he knew if I was going to come in and you were going to be here, who still owes me from the pick six.
I'll make sure AJ pays up. I'll make sure he pays up.
He
Coach
would, 'cause
Belichick
he's a
did his conference call, his weekly conference call. Of course, a majority of the questions spawned around Antonio Brown and why would you take him in here? And this whole issue of, well, this guy's a clown, he's selfish, he's arrogant. And it brought to mind another receiver that the Patriots took in some years ago. And Bill was asked about that. And from Tom Curran of NBCSports.com, asked him the question. And so here's the question, here's the answer, and we'll break it down from there.
Hi, Bill. I just wanted to ask you about Antonio Brown right off the bat. The team made it official yesterday.
Oh, frick. Wrong. Hold on.
And was it difficult for you to
There we go.
reconcile what he was coming off last week in Oakland with bringing him aboard?
So, really quickly, I'm going to just have to break down this question because this thing keeps restarting on me. I hate this. Tom asked him, based on the things that have already gone on with his issues in Pittsburgh and in Oakland, is that an issue for Coach Belichick?
Did or didn't happen there.
Well, it's pretty well documented in both
Rewind that.
places.
Hold on.
And was it difficult for you to reconcile what he was coming off last week in Oakland with bringing him aboard?
Well, I wasn't in either one of those places, so I really can't comment on what did or didn't happen there.
Well, it's pretty well documented in both places that he was pretty disruptive. What makes you confident that he won't be that way here?
That's the same thing you said about Randy Moss when we brought him in. So
Me?
collectively,
that is Bill Belichick in his conference call. I'm sorry for the audio issues. That's my bad. Again, Bill was asked, Coach was asked about, his issues have been well documented, whether it was in Pittsburgh or especially in Oakland. And, and Bill's like, well, I didn't coach there. I wasn't there at all. So I can't talk about what he did or didn't do there. And then that's when Tom brings up, well, everybody already knows about it. So obviously you have some knowledge. And, of course, he brings up one of the greatest receivers to ever play in the game of football, Randy the Freak Moss, who was in Minnesota, torched the bridge there, went to Oakland, set that thing ablaze. And then from Oakland, ironically, he went from Oakland to New England, and New England got him and sent a bag of chips and a 20-ounce soda to Oakland to get him. That's how eager Oakland was to get rid of the guy. And Randy Moss in 2007, with Tom Brady in his prime, turns in 23 touchdowns, which was a record. And then in a season, set the record in yards. So, John, my question to you is, does this turn into Randy Moss-esque 2007, or is this a bigger problem?
Well, here's the way I look at it, and it's pretty simple. Antonio Brown, if you're listening, which I know you're a regular listener of the Full Court Press, but if you're out there today, maybe you're prepping, maybe you're having some dinner with Giselle right now, because I think didn't Brady offer him to let him stay at his place while he got settled? Maybe they're all hanging around playing Yahtzee or Farkle or something like that. I don't know. They're hanging out. Dude, you are going to only be as good as you want to be with this team. And I think you saw that Sunday night. As much as I hate to have to bring this up with you here, AJ, the Patriots just shellacked the Steelers. Ugly, ugly game. It wasn't even as close as the score indicated. It was one of the most precise, well-played football games I've ever seen in what they did. I think what the Patriots did right there is they sent a little message to Antonio Brown saying, dude, we're good. You will make us even better, but we are really, really good without you. And if you're not going to conform, if you're not going to do the things we want you to do, if you're not going to play the way we want you to play, if you're not going to live the Patriot way, you can just sit on the end of the bench and we'll continue to go out and throttle other teams like this. And if you really want to make a stink out of it, we'll just release you and we'll pay you $10 million, which in NFL terms is not a big deal. Robert Kraft will just pull out his little checkbook and write the check off and away he'll go. And that will be essentially the end of Brown's career. Somebody will pick him up because he's way too talented. But if he really wants to be a part of something special, he's got to recognize that he needs to come in and do it the Patriot way. If not, they don't need him.
I'm with you. I think the show that New England put on Sunday night was a message to Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
Was, hey, look, what we just did was without you. So if you come in and have your little antics and your shenanigans, get out. We'll still average 35 points a game without you, buddy.
Yeah. All the talk about, how Josh Gordon, was going to be the guy here. Julian Edelman still had 6 receptions for 83 yards.
Good heck.
Gordon he had a great game. 3 receptions, 44-yard touchdown reception, three catches for 73 yards. But then you have Philip Dorsett. And this is the thing about the Patriots. Every year they have a different guy. Every game, it seems like a different guy steps up. Philip Dorsett, 2 touchdowns on 4 receptions, 95 yards. 4 targets, 4 receptions, 2 touchdowns. I mean, that's a phenomenal game. You got James White and Rex Burkhead coming out of the backfield. They get five catches each. This is a scary good team. Now, for all you Steelers fan, I don't want you getting upset at me. My good friend David Butterfield, he's been in mourning because of this game. Keep in mind what happened to the Patriots last year in their first game. Do you remember?
Oh yeah, they got
Titans.
Yeah, shellac.
Just beat them up. I think they won by like 21, 3 touchdowns, something like that. So the season's not over.
Smashed after. I don't remember.
So, we're the end of game 1 of the season. Don't be writing teams off, but I think the Patriots sent a very strong message, not only to the rest of the NFL, but to Antonio Brown as well, saying, dude, you better be ready to come and be a part of the team. We're not going to put up with it.
Well, they are all in on Antonio Brown as the Patriots have announced that they are trading wide receiver Demaryius Thomas in the division to the New York Jets.
Yeah.
Now, hold on. 2 things. 1, by the way, they get a 2021 6th-round pick out of that trade. 1, they got Demaryius as a free agent. So they not only took Demaryius as a free agent, they then turned around and got a pick for it. Mm-hmm. So that tells you 3 things. 1, they're all in on Antonio Brown. 2, the New York Jets suck so bad that they need a receiver who is not even 100% healthy right now. And 3, that there might have been something wrong with Demaryius Thomas the whole entire time and it wasn't going to get fixed. Also, with an addition to that, the New York Jets are the final team in the trade bucket list for Bill Belichick, which means Bill Belichick has now made a trade since 2000. Has made a trade with every single team in the NFL since 2000.
Yeah. Well, love them or hate them, you've got to respect the program. You've got to respect the organization and what they've done. And after week 1, you got to look at it. They're the team to beat. And that's the question. What did you learn after week 1 of NFL play? Or did you learn anything?
No, sure, we learned a lot. We figured out that Cleveland really does suck at everything. We learned that Miami's about as fake as you can get. That even, when they're under Bill Belichick's tutelage, they can go out and experience, but it just turns out to be worse than they thought. I'm talking to you, Mr. Brian Flores, who got just smacked around by the Ravens and Lamar Jackson. We learned that I think the Steelers are still a good football team, and I think they're going to be in the playoffs. I still think that. I think the Steelers are really good. Yeah. They just happen to run into a machine of a New England Patriots football team who is still awaiting their best receiver to make his way onto the team this Sunday versus, by the way, at Miami.
You like that on the schedule? That's something.
No, I hate it. I hate going to Miami this early, dude. You know what? Because New England already has problems going to Miami and winning there. That is like going to Denver. New England Patriots have a losing record at the following 2 places in the NFL since the Tom Brady, Bill Belichick era: Denver and Miami.
Well, I'll tell you what, right now, since you already owe me for the pick 6.
Oh, give me a break. I'm not freaking rewarding you for half a tackle. You're not taking crap.
I will take New England over Miami. I will give you that one since you're so anti-New England in Miami. Is that a deal?
Don't you remember? No, look, I just remember like that whole, you just know it's a cursed thing. Yeah. Like Utah State going to, think of them going to Boise.
Wyoming, like we were just talking about.
Yeah,
Wyoming and Colorado State.
We were 5 seconds or 10 seconds and 70 yards away from beating Miami last year. And then 2 laterals later, 70 yards later, and 1 missed Gronkowski lack of effort tackle later, Miami wins on a lateral 70 yards away. Like, what the crap, man? I'm telling you, I hate Miami. And so going to Miami still scares me, even with Antonio Brown. I still think it works. I don't know how long it works. It might work for 6 games this season. It might work for 1 season. It might work for 2.5. And then Antonio's like, you know what? I miss my Snapchat. I miss my rants. I miss my, my whole entire tirades. I need to go off on some. And he's going to do it. It's going to tick the Patriots off. They're going to say, here's your case. Here's your money. Get out of here and go to Cleveland and deal with that drama.
They don't need him. Him and OBJ.
Yeah, no. According to Sunday, they need him. According to Sunday.
Well, we'll. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I think for me though, the thing that made me happiest about him going to the Patriots, about Antonio Brown, is that one of 2 things is going to happen. I'm tired of hearing about him because this is a team game, and football is about 11 guys, both sides of the ball, doing their best, coming together and getting the W, and that's what you see with the best teams. One of 2 things is going to happen. He's going to either come in and totally buy into everything, and he's going to have an all-pro type of season, and everybody will say, Belichick was able to get him under control, or he's going to disappear. And either way, I just don't want to hear from him. You know what I learned from the first week of the NFL? There's several things that I learned. One, Patrick Mahomes, dude is the real deal.
When he's not throwing no-look passes 20 yards over Kelsey's head when he's wide open.
But you know that he heard about that one. The guy is the real deal. He is legit. Number 2, the other thing that I learned is that Bobby Wagner is the best linebacker in the NFL. Better than anybody else that might play on another team.
Sorry, Kyle Van Noy was dealing with the delivery of his child that he can go there and dominate Pittsburgh and change their mind.
He knew that he would be overdone. And
move on.
Mitchell Trubisky, Bears need to find another quarterback. I'm a Bears fan. Man, Trubisky is just, he is not the answer there. And number 4, I guess that'd be 3. So number 4 just goes to show how tenuous the NFL is. You look at Nick Foles.
Oh my God.
Did amazing things in Philadelphia, filling in for Carson Wentz, who had a good game. Carson Wentz does get the W for his team.
Comeback win over.
Comeback win, so good for him. But here Foles finally gets a chance to go in, and what ends up happening on a touchdown throw, he gets thrown to the ground, breaks his collarbone. Out indefinitely. It just goes to show that the good NFL teams are going to be the ones that not only have that stellar starting quarterback, but they got the good backup to come in because, I mean, who's going to play a whole season? So here's my next question for you, Mr. Patriot. Why is Brady in the fourth quarter when the game's all said and done?
Oh, dude, they rarely ever take him out. I mean, unless it's a kneel down. I don't know. That's just something they've always been about. They rarely ever take him out. It's just, and you know what? A lot of teams don't. A lot of teams don't take out their starting quarterback. It's just something that they don't do.
See, I think they need to learn that. So coming out of week 1, who's your, if you were to pick somebody to win it all, other than the Patriots? Because I know you do the Patriots.
Just ask your damn question.
So when you have a kid, if it's a boy, are you going to name him Brady?
No, I'm going to name him Thomas Brady.
Bill William Belichick. Salvesen. Knight.
I'm going to name him 7 Rings and then change his name every year. I think Kansas City's an absolute legit threat. They scare the absolute heck out of me as a Patriots fan. And I think on the other side, Dallas looked great against New York.
Yes, they did.
They looked locked, loaded, and ready to go for the 2019 football season. By the way, and another thing I want to point out from this week 1, last night, good for Taysom Hill. That guy went through so much. I mean, here at BYU, his season-ending knee injury, had that rough season. People wanted to dog him and ditch him out of here and get rid of him, move on to Tanner Mangum, and they saw how that worked out. Taysom Hill has been something special and for New Orleans, and is turning into much more valuable than they could have ever imagined. I love what Taysom's doing for the New Orleans Saints. That's turned out to be a heck of a draft pick for them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And they keep saying that even though they picked up Tony Bridgewater, Taysom Hill is the future after Drew Brees finally decides to retire, whenever that may be. Yeah, I got to go back to your comment, though, on Dallas. Dallas looked good. Ezekiel Elliott, 13 carries, 53 yards. He averaged about 4 yards a carry. But I think that had to do more with Dak and his play. 25 for 32, 405 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. He throws like that, you could put me in the backfield, and I'd be getting 4 yards a carry. The guy was phenomenal. He played really well. My pick, though, after week 1, and obviously this changes, Minnesota Vikings. I think you're going to sneak up on some people. They played, I know a lot of folks here in Cache Valley, there aren't a lot of Vikings fans, but they played a very good Atlanta Falcons team with a really good offense with Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, Freeman, I think is their running back. They did a really good job shutting them down. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of focus on Dallas. There's going to be a lot of focus on Philadelphia. What are those teams able to do? And I think that slowly, they're just going to kind of sneak up on somebody, Minnesota that is, and they're going to show who they are.
All right, we got to take a break. Coming back, Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, France, USA. Winner meets in the semifinals versus most likely Serbia. We're going to give you our keys to the game for a USA win to move on. It's John Russell. I'm Ajay Salvesen. Eric, gone, not dead. Alive but not forgotten. 106.9 The Fan, 1390 AM.
The new home for the Full Court Press. Weekday afternoons from 4 to 6 on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Ajay Salvesen, John Russell, 445. Your time here on September 10th. It's a Tuesday. 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, The Fan. Grateful for however and wherever you are joining us from. Remember, 106.9thefan.com, you can stream us. And then we're on all podcast platforms. You can type in John's name, my name, or the Full Court Press. You can find us on Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, and listen to the whole entirety of the show if you missed anything. Tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. again on ESPN Plus, you can find the France versus USA. This is expected to be one of the bigger challenges that Team USA has seen since the exhibition. And that's not even the biggest challenge, because when they get to Serbia, that is without question, without regard, to be their biggest challenge. Is out of all the teams, not Spain, not Turkey, not Australia, Serbia to be the problem. But this France team presents a lot of issues that Team USA really hasn't had to deal with that much. And John, when I look at it, it starts with the big men down low, such as Rudy Gobert.
Yeah, this is a good basketball team, and what's been great about this tournament, there's been a lot of, it's just the FIBA tournament, it's not a big deal. This is a big deal. Basketball is huge worldwide now, and I think you're really seeing that with what's coming up against France. This is going to be a big matchup, quarterfinal play. So they're at a point now where they've got to win. There's no bracket play anymore. They've got to get the W, and you're going up against guys that are used to NBA style of play. They get the game. This is it's a tournament, a worldwide tournament, but these are guys that know how to play the NBA game and are not going to be intimidated by seeing guys like Kemba Walker and Donovan Mitchell coming out on the court.
Yeah, that's the thing is, with Serbia, you're going to get a physical, want to beat the heck out of you in the backcourt. They are, in your grill for most of that game, and they're handsy with you too. France, I thought, would be kind of the same, but after watching a little film on them, they're not as much, but they're very quick on defense. They can get back very quickly in transition. They get in position. They play assignment defense. They're very disciplined. This is, again, it's going to be a huge challenge for them. And then the big men, like we've already talked about, Rudy Gobert presents a challenge for guys like Mason Plumlee or Miles Turner. Those guys haven't played someone like Rudy Gobert, who's your back-to-back defending player, or defensive player of the year in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
The question I have here is, where do you need the production the most? Backcourt or your big men? Where are you looking for the most production to be able to get you a win?
Well, as much as I love Rudy, and we all love Rudy here, we recognize who Rudy is. And Rudy's not a guy that's going to put 40 points on you. And so I think what you need to do is you need to see the backcourt playing the game that they do and being as productive as they can. When you look at the United States team, they are a guard-oriented team. That's where they've had their success. Kemba Walker is, he's done a great job for this team, and he's really kind of become a team leader, which you love to see. The guys that are leading this team are Donovan, Kemba, and Harrison Barnes. Those are the guys that are leading them point-wise. They're the ones that are shooting the ball the most, and they're the guys that are really the enforcers, as far as this team goes. So I think you need to see that continued pressure. I think the advantage we have with Donovan is Donovan knows what Rudy likes to do. And if anybody should step up in this game, I think it's going to be Donovan. I think you're really going to see him. You're going to see Spida play. He's going to have a huge game, and that's going to be the difference.
For France, they present serious challenges, in not only defensive but also offensively. They've scored an estimated 123 points on a per 100 possessions. The last time the two teams met on the international stage, at least in a non-elimination pool play, was in the 16 Olympics, and France shot 56% and still lost by 3.
Yeah. I don't think that happens.
Me neither. I think based on the talent that France has and the lack of talent, with all due respect to Team USA, that doesn't happen again.
You know what? Keep saying that. And I think
it's true.
I think that's something, though, that the coaching staff, let's talk about the fact that they have the best coach in basketball right now on the sidelines with them in Pop. Greg Popovich is the best coach, period. So you don't think these, putting these, you guys are the scrubs. You guys are the backups to the backups. They aren't even the guys, you guys aren't the guys the NBA fans want to see. Do you think anybody's watching this in the United States? Do you think anybody really cares about this? What is it? FIFA? Oh, wait, no, that's soccer. What league is this? Who is this? These guys are going to be fired up for this game.
I'm not saying they're motivated. I'm just saying that, look, who would you take? Damian Lillard or Jason Tatum? Who would you take? Russell Westbrook and James Harden or Kemba Walker? And
not Russell Westbrook.
Marcus Smart.
Yeah. Well, these are not the best players, American players. I can't deny that. That's not true. But the fact remains is that these are guys that want to go out and do that. And my hat goes off to Kemba Walker. My hat goes off to Donovan Mitchell, who it would have been very easy for them to sit back and say, nah, I'm not going to play. I need to rest. I don't want to, it's not worth it to me to play.
France plays a lot of man defense. In fact, they haven't played his own defense yet. If they do play in his own defense, I feel like it's going to be a problem for this team USA.
But they're not.
You don't think they do?
They're not.
You don't think they get out of their shell and say, look, if we can,
No, why would you? If you've not done it before, why would you do it now?
That's throwing Team USA off.
No.
They're capable of, look, Nicholas Batum. Look, these guys can do that. They're professional players. Evan Fournier?
No, they're going to stick with what they know, what they've gotten them here. They're also coming off a loss. They just lost to Australia in their last game. Who's a good team? See, I like the scare against Turkey. I like the fact that USA had to come back and go to overtime and get the victory. And it's Nicholas Batum, by the way. Oh,
it's a Batum. He doesn't even deserve to have his name pronounced right now. But just, they do have the size. They're starting 5 guys, by the way, for France. All of them are 6'6" or taller.
Yeah,
that's going to give the backcourt extreme problems because they've been able to drive to the hoop and do what they want, and they're only shooting 32% from deep right now. That ranks 18th in the World Cup.
Defensively, though, how do you do that? Then maybe they do have to go to the zone because they're not going to be able to guard Kemba, Donovan. They're not going to be able to guard those guys outside the 3-point line. It's just not going to happen. So they're going to have to mix things up, but I just don't see him going to the zone. If that's what's gotten you, man-to-man has gotten you this far, that's what you're going to stick with. And let's face it, as Jazz fans, we all know how it goes. You can take all the chances in the world because you got the Stifle Tower sitting down in the post waiting for you to bring it inside so he can swat it away.
U.S. has had better numbers playing small ball.
Mm-hmm.
Based on the stats that I'm looking at right now, they're a plus 35 on per 100 possessions in 72 minutes. Their big men have not really came through for them, to be honest with you. In fact, Miles Turner, for whatever reason, is attempted only 3 3-pointers in 98 minutes. Brook Lopez is 2 at 12 from deep. That's a huge problem. So it's going to be interesting to see if they go to that small ball lineup versus a 6'6" lineup, and they use Harrison Barnes more, especially in that center position, or if they decide to stick with Miles Turner. But if I'm just saying that their perimeter guys aren't going to be as big of a factor as what Miles Turner and Mason and Brook Lopez and these guys are going to have to be.
It just hurts me every time you say Mason Plumlee. There's some college guys that probably could have played on this team.
I know.
Yeah, you just look at from the post point of view, somebody's going to have a game. But at this point, you know who your stars are. You know who it is. Is there anybody that needs to step up? I think Middleton, Chris Middleton, he's had kind of a quiet tournament. I think he's a guy that could really shine in this game, really step up and make a difference.
All right, we got to go to break. Coming back, we'll get you ready for the second hour. Coach Finkbeiner will be joining us here on the Full Court Press. It's Ajay Salvesen, John Russell. Second hour of the Full Court Press coming up here shortly.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. Coaches are always talking about let's take it one game at a time. They try not to overreact to a win or a loss. But behind the scenes, you have to imagine the Oakland Raiders are very, very happy today. They beat the Broncos last night in their season opener. It's a great start to the season and finally quiets all that noise about Antonio Brown that has hovered over this team all offseason. Head coach John Gruden tried to downplay the impact of the AB situation. On Monday, we saw plenty of players stepping up. Quarterback Derek Carr missed just 4 passes all night. Rookie running back Josh Jacobs out of Alabama was solid, and Tyrell Williams, he looked like the number 1 wide receiver. The Raiders host the Chiefs next week and then travel to Minnesota. So who knows if they can keep it going. But for today, 1-0 has to feel really, really good for a team that was making headlines for all the wrong reasons the last month. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise.